Alright, we are recording. This is Dying Light 2, Cues provided by Stride PR for Techland, and let's get it. And stopwatch going so I know how much time is passing. Yeah, that is one of those things that a second monitor would be nice for, but second monitors can introduce some issues as well. Now, a second computer that maybe one day. I don't have the space for it, and I don't have the need for it. But yeah, I could see that being one advantage to the two PC streaming setups, is just being able to, look and be like, that's a long. Okay, I don't actually want to progress, to be honest. I want to do this. I don't know about that, but it's like, I want to... The antennas over here. Well, there's stuff to do there. I thought there were antennas over. It's not. But it's like, I do want to... That's the one that, when I got near it, it disappeared on. But yeah, I want to do some exploration. I just, that's what I feel like doing.
Aiden, the Colonel seems to be evacuating renegade camps. First, the electricity, then central loot raids. Now this. It seems that Williams doesn't want to fight any more than we do.
Or he really intends to close the sluice gates and back the chemicals up into the city.
But his stronghold will be destroyed as well, so this evacuation wouldn't make sense. We need to expand the range to find out more.
Bite the bullet, John. Leave us tomorrow.
The number here keeps increasing. It was 1, then 2, now it's 3. Another reason why I want to go out and do stuff is to try to pick up some stuff. Inhibitors, yes, but also like get the stuff so I can do more upgrade.
Till the day.
I say, and I'm sorry, it's how I like playing my games. Is to
come here. Kids will play brave blue helmets. Am I right?
Yes. Hey, Meyer.
I could use your help. Have you checked the job board lately?
Judging from your tone, it's something serious, not just another bandit problem, right?
Yes. One of my men deserted his post.
That's serious. Who was it?
That's what pisses me off. It was a friend, a guy named Bart. Maybe it's my fault. I know he had it rough here. I tried to protect him. I guess it wasn't enough.
You protect him? From who?
The other soldiers. They had a problem with him.
Which was?
Their problem, not Bart's. Believe me, I know what it's like to be the odd man, or woman, out in old-school military culture. But here's my problem. Desertion alone will get him the death penalty. But what he took could get others, good men, killed.
What did he steal?
Let's call it a map. That's all I can tell you. The rest is on a need-to-know basis only. And you don't need to know.
You need me to track him down?
Yes. With everything going on, I just don't have the manpower to spare. But I must get that map back.
Okay, I get the map. But what about Bart?
When you bring the map back, just tell me where he is and leave the rest to me. It's my job.
Okay. Where should I start looking?
Try his bunk. It's in the barracks, a deck above us.
okay.
Can I ask anyone about Bart?
Sure, he was pretty well known, whether he liked it or not. He was popular among the new recruits. Try asking Mateo. He's usually hanging around the armory. Then there's Magda. Never had a kind word to say about Bart. Or anyone, for that matter. She works in the hospital on the next floor.
Okay, I think I can take it from here.
Good luck, Aiden.
Hey, you seen the quartermaster anywhere?
That guy looks kind of like...
Keep flaunting the PK's authority.
I mean, it's not, but... It's mainly just the overall shape. But I'm going to take care of this first. And see, this is another reason why it's nice to stop, go and do the other stuff. Pick up...
Christ,
sorry.
Oh no, Captain! There's more and more of them!
This is not a good idea.
Hold your position. You don't scare me.
Oh, wait, no, that's right. I remember. No, I'd be trying to get the poison. Oops. No.
Stop. One wrong move and I skewer you like a pig. You? So you're a thief.
Tell me about this.
Fuck you. This is my apartment. Get out now before I call the guard.
I'll go for it. Sure they'd want to know about your poison too.
So, you found Josh, and he said that I tried to poison him, right?
Yeah, and that you're currently conning a man so that he'll turn over his shop and money to you, right?
Except you've got plenty of experience killing, right? Hey,
Okay.
we all got our ways to survive. If mine is to have chumps throw their money at me, and their way is to throw all their money at me, well, win-win, I say. But I've never killed anyone. No way.
Why should I believe you?
You took the drunk's word for it. Why not take mine?
He doesn't
Hey,
have a
there's
reason to
no
lie.
that here. Remember 4 dead men, all while involved with you?
What makes you think I killed them, and not, oh, I don't know, the virus or zombies? Look, wet behind the ears. That's medicine. My mother was a medic and taught me a few things.
What's going on?
Hide it, quickly.
They want to find
It's
out.
nothing. Just a disagreement. A loud one, I guess.
What's that in your hand? Got an anonymous tip to search this apartment for poison. There's talk of a murder. If this really is poison, as suspected, this woman will hang tomorrow.
You've got to help me! You hear me? Please! I'm not a murderer! Find Baba. She has a shop on St. Paul Island. She'll clear my name. She's a plague witch. Show her what you found.
Okay. That took a turn. I mean. Okay. Huh. Yeah. That took a turn. So,
I hope the kids are all right. Haven't seen them for weeks.
but it is, like I said, I would have just been interested in learning more.
What happened here?
What?
What happened here?
The captain has a hearing problem now.
Oh yeah, here.
10 and fast.
Haven't you heard?
Someone here is definitely not hearing.
We were supposed to hang these 2 punks from old Villador.
With Jack and Joe?
Yeah, Jack and Joe.
Yeah. They asked for a cigarette and a light. Their last wish, they said, so we gave it to her.
Not we. The captain gave it to them.
And right after that, boom! Imagine the explosion inside this great can of metal. I started bleeding from my left ear. I'm kind of worried my hearing won't come back.
But wait, Jack and Joe had explosives?
We found an empty bottle in the cell. I don't know how they smuggled it in. In the butt, I guess.
It smelled like moonshine. And I don't know what kind of moonshine it must have been for the impact to be so huge.
The smell of moonshine's also coming from the captain.
Well, well.
What?
No, it's nothing. I hope you catch him, and that your hearing will come back.
Well, me too. And I have to go to the hospital tomorrow.
And tomorrow, I'm gonna be the captain. This job has just dropped out.
Good luck for the both of you. Moonshine bomb. They finally managed to succeed at something.
And I can investigate? What? I am unsure what all it's saying I have for investigate. But I want to find out.
Fucking prisoners
have better conditions than we do.
And can you imagine?
Everything different. Hey, you. Want to be sent back to the Outland?
This is too far down.
My back's not cut out for this kind of
I'm
work.
gonna tell you something. Just don't get offended. You're tougher than most men I know.
Hey, you. Yes, you. I'm Albert, and from what I hear, you're Aiden. You have quite the reputation, my boy, for being fearless, for boldly crisscrossing the city at night, as if it were broad daylight.
You believe all that?
At first, I didn't believe, because a pilgrim's always a guy with some kind of dark past. A bandit, a rebel, an outcast. But from what they say about you...
I'm sure whatever you've heard is an exaggeration.
Nonsense, my boy. I have something you probably don't come across all that much. Faith. Faith in you.
I'd be careful with that.
It's no time to be careful, my boy. I believe that your strength, determination, and courage are just what you need to retrieve priceless treasures.
This is the book club mission I was trying to get.
Before mankind is plunged irrevocably into the intellectual and philosophical Dark Ages.
So, your books, then?
This isn't about dime store paperbacks, boy.
Oh, shit, also.
I'm talking about the greatest works of literature ever created through the eons of human existence. The greatest thought pieces, philosophical treatises, works of romance, drama, and horror. All of which serve to illuminate and uplift humanity itself. Losing such a heritage would reduce us to cavemen, with no better way to express ourselves than through savage grunts as we scratch crude figures on walls.
Sure. How can I help?
Work with me, please, to find and secure these treasures. I've been researching the local private book collections. If I'm right, many priceless volumes may be found all around the city. Of course, many of the dwellings are now infested by these horrible creatures of the night. That's where you come in. Here, take this list. Each title on it corresponds to one of the many facets of humanity. Fail to save them, and the diamond of mankind will dull and shatter like cheap glass. Remember,
melodramatic.
We are not simply creatures of flesh and blood, but also of mind and ideas. I am charging you with the salvation of the very spirit of man.
Right. I'm off then.
Get this. Greta's gone completely bonkers.
Now, don't get me wrong. Don't know why my phone went to ding. Something important though.
I guess. Yeah. And otherwise.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Not like, you know, the masterworks shouldn't actively be tried to be preserved and all that. But it's also, you know, just...
Canteen. That's good. The place could use a new type.
Where'd they go? Gone. Nope, there they are.
We'll be
No, this is actually... That's the library. I was just there. But you do need to try to, preserve all of it. I can understand prioritizing, but it's like some of those masterworks, they were started there. They started as the Dime Store.
Chewed out by Rager himself. He took the effort to do it personally.
Damn, this shit
I'm
is
gonna
heavy.
have to get going, but it's been really nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Pulling out somebody dying 3 feet away? I don't think I could have handled that. Well, I couldn't. And that's a good thing.
Okay. So I have... I don't know why those are marked, but anyway. Yeah, you do need to, try to preserve all.
Recently, I had
I mean, there's also the whole... Oh, wait. Might that tie into Bart?
I don't want to play infected anymore.
But, they all stories record something. If nothing else, they record part of, the history of that. Because an author just intrinsically encodes into their writing their vernacular, but also, very possibly their fears or their hopes. Also sometimes what they witness. Like, is it Victor Hugo? I don't remember now. But Les Miserables, the original story there.
No mercy for traitors. Consider this a warning.
Okay. It has a scene in it that has nothing to do with the story, but it's of the French Revolution and some of the, one of the revolutions, but some of the people being murdered on the street for. The officers, the army just shooting and killing them. And it's like, it has nothing to do with the story. And there's actually been debate over why it's there. Why is it in the story? And the speculation is, I think it's Hugo, is that he witnessed it. And he put it in the book to, mark it, to record it. Now that is, of course, a very specific example. But, you can have... Go up. But, even without that, you have other things as well. That, it's like, the villain is going to be a manifestation of whatever the current fear is at the time. Good example of that, it would be the B-movies from, the 50s and such, the nuclear age. Because a lot of, like Godzilla, is very much recognized as a, allegory for nuclear weapons. Because, the idea being that it was released by nuclear weapons testing. I don't even think that's an idea. I think that is actually the canon.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you help me?
Who are you mamming? What do you want? I'm busy.
I'm trying to find someone. A man named Bart. Are you familiar with him?
Bart? Fuck yes. Don't get me started.
Ah, so you know him.
Yep. But I got no time to talk to you, especially about a perv like Bart. Besides, boss says I gotta watch my mouth. That's bullshit if you ask me.
Can't tell me anything?
I just did, you moron. Do I have to spell it out for you? People like that shouldn't be around children if you ask me. But that's all I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Okay.
Today, I thought our chances against renegades were pretty good.
What a sweet, sweet killing.
Hey, you Mateo?
We've met. New Dawn Park.
You were looking for Lieutenant Rowe. You saved me from the renegades.
Oh, right. Listen, Mateo. Meyer sent me. I'm looking for Bart.
Bart? Thanks for saving me and all, but I can't help you with Bart.
I just wanted...
No, sorry. I haven't run across him for a while anyway. Try Garrett. I saw him walking toward the barracks.
Jeez. Okay, I'm leaving.
I think also, well, the more so on line with the nuclear era was just a fear of science unchecked. So, like, Night of the Living Dead was a satellite that crashed, if I remember correct.
I did to stop.
Excuse me, what is this place?
How can you not know? Wait. Are you that pilgrim?
Yeah.
It depends.
You must have been on the VNC Tower mission. My name is Kyra. I'm Leon's wife.
Leon? My condolences. He was a great man, an excellent soldier.
Like everyone in Squad 404.
Squad 404?
Haven't you heard of them? They were legendary. They were the ones who helped get Frank out of the VNC Tower. They were the ones who defended the Missy when the infected got inside. They were role models for every PK. And at this point, we should honor their memory.
How do you know Squad 404 so well?
I was their radio operator. I heard the last blows they got. And their last words. I can still hear them. In my dreams. But that's a good thing, you know? Because we mustn't forget them. And this place, the PK should honor their memory here, just like they did with the others who fell.
Yeah, I know what you mean. To remember. It's our duty.
Pilgrim, may I ask something of you?
I already have.
Will you help me collect them? Collect all the dog tags of Squad 404.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. You already met some of them. Fitzbowski, Chris, and Lieutenant Rowe in the VNC Tower. I already got the dog tags from the men in the VNC Tower. As for the rest of the squad, here are the action reports. You already know what to do. I'm sure the brothers and sister would like to be reunited.
I don't. Think. It's like.
When I close my eyes, I see Leon by the Tozawa.
But yeah, so it's like, I mean, obviously Dead, Godzilla, those are two, movies that you remember, and it's like, yeah, you keep those. But there are many, many others that similarly can give you a sense of that time that you lose. You get?
You, Garrett? I'm trying to find Bart. I hear you know him.
Maybe. That depends. You friend or foe?
Undecided.
Cute. Listen, you can count me as one of Bart's friends. And as for those rumors that Bart's done something wrong, total bullshit.
Bullshit?
Give me a break. Whatever's going on, it's a setup. I'm sure the other PKs are behind this.
Which PKs?
Throw a rock. You'd probably hit one, and it'd bounce off and hit another, and so on.
How would they set up one of their brothers like this?
Don't believe everything you hear about dignity and brotherhood around here.
I see. So you know where Bart might be?
I don't. But even if I did, don't know if I'd tell you, Mr. Undecided.
No, that's fair.
Well, thanks for the insight.
And while I'm up, let's see how bad an idea this is.
Chances against the renegades were pretty good. But now, I'm not so sure.
No, it's not. I don't feel like it.
Damn it. Forgot to bring a snack.
It's like, let's talk to...
This zone is secured by peacekeepers.
Damn. Oh. So I do actually...
But they've given him a shot, and it didn't do shit.
Oh.
You shouldn't be here. PK barracks are off limits to civilians.
Find something? So what did you find, son?
You know anything about this?
Not really, but it's good. Bull cream work, if you ask me.
Who drew it?
Couldn't tell you. I've seen Bart with pictures like this off and on over the last year. But as far as I know, he doesn't have children of his own. Children. Mine are all grown. Not all are still alive either, sadly. But I remember when they were young and happy, drawing constantly. They scribbled their way through boxes and boxes of crayons. The kid who drew that, he's a happy kid.
Well, if Bart doesn't have kids, where'd he get it?
Probably child of a friend or something. He was kind to everyone. Here, there, everywhere. Unless you were a bully.
Well, this doesn't help. Now what do I do?
You might ask Stack over at the canteen. Seen them together a few times. Bart helped him when he was in some trouble. Helped everyone a lot.
Thanks. I'll go talk to that Stack.
I got a favor to ask.
One time a guy sitting with that redhead. Come in. How'd it go?
I know chess. And what's happening between renegades and PKs is called a stalemate.
Yeah. You know what? This. Well, that. I'm not sure if I could.
Don't let it happen!
It's like I got him. Why not? And he's inviting fun.
Thank you so much. Please take this small token.
I wish bizarre folks would talk to us more. This shit is silly. We all want peace.
Rainer's men got a huge order for lamps from Matt. Maybe they'll finally like this.
Doc, I was told you know Bart.
Who doesn't know Bart? What's this all about, anyway?
Now that's between Bart and me.
Bart's my friend, buddy. If it involves Bart, it involves me. You want info? You're gonna tell me why you're looking for Bart.
All right, fair enough.
Shit.
Well, he's been accused of theft.
Well, that's nonsense, that is. Bart is honest as the day is long.
That's
He's got
the reaction.
no reason to steal from anyone.
And his CO doesn't want to believe it either.
You mean Meyer? You hear any other bullshit about Bart?
Yeah.
He left his post. He's accused of desertion.
Son of a bitch. He finally went for it. Good for him. Good for them. If I were you, I'd just leave him be. We all should. This probably happened because Meyer can't keep a leash on her men.
That's all I've been told.
Trust me, a lot of other PK have had it in for Bart since day one. Meyer's respected. Mostly. But when it came to Bart, her men refused to follow her lead. I trust you, so I'll tell you this. Bart's loyal military, but he had another side. Like the outdoors. Always out near the fields. Ask the field workers on top of the old office building at the intersection of Van Peel and St. Paul Boulevard. It's right here in New Dorn Park.
Thanks. I'll do just that.
I'm here. Checking in on
Aiden, you've been around a while. You're practically one of us now.
Frank.
Good night, Aiden.
Move on.
Doors open.
We need to extend that range.
Oh. Yeah.
Frank's calling for the return of the Night Runner.
Seriously? That was alright.
Sometimes I wake up at night and forget the fall even happened. It's about the only time I smile. But then I see the goddamn UV lights.
I'm looking for Bart.
Hasn't been here for a while. Might be watching Andy's kid. Been doing that more and more lately.
Andy?
Yeah, Bart's friend. Andy's got the cutest kid, Liam. The way Bart acts, you'd think that he was Liam's father.
Where can I find him?
Don't rightly know. I've only seen him when they brought Liam here. But you could ask around.
Thanks for the tip.
I'm not gonna worry about that. Do the second.
Free People's Radio is more than just a broadcast. It's a source of hope.
Good to see you.
What's over there?
Civilization's but a whim of circumstance. Always.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I used to be in the force before the plague hit. I turned in my badge when they asked us to shoot civilians after Black Monday. I've never believed the Night Runner were real. Just fairy tales, if you ask me.
Hi, looking for Bart. Can you tell me anything about him?
Well, for one, you're not his type.
Wait, what?
Relax, honey. I was just pulling your leg. The look on your face, my. To answer your question, I can tell you that Bart is as fine a man as I've ever known. High praise, I know, but I'm not just talking his looks. He's brave, kind, caring, loves children. Especially Andy's son, Liam.
Andy?
Bart's bestie, Andy. Those two are like two peas in a pod. And Liam, he's, well, like a spring pea, I guess. How Bart dotes on that boy.
So where can I find him?
Probably at Andy's. They had a few of us up for some cool drinks just yesterday. Such kind souls.
Up? Where?
Andy's place is over there. Not far. You can get there quicker if you're any good at climbing.
Yeah, good to know. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. You tell those boys I said hi.
Fresh fingerprints in the dust on these keys. Someone was playing this recently. Just like the one I found in Bart's bunk. Must be Liam's work.
What?
Huh. Steve. What does this mean?
Looks like I'm in luck. Let's have ourselves a little chat. Introductions are in order. You're Bart, I presume.
No, why do you ask?
Then you must be Andy.
Nope, wrong again.
Then stop wasting my time and tell me who you were.
One is
a competitor, apparently.
So you're after Bart too?
I am.
Huh? She must be really jonesing for what Bart stole if she's hiding any old Tom, Dick or Harry.
I didn't realize this was a horse race either.
Normally situations like this piss me off. But if Moyer hired us both, it means we're on the same side and can share intel. So, did you dig up anything on Bart?
I don't know. Does the name Steve ring any bells for you?
Steve, yeah. Slippery Steve. Slime bucket. What's he got to do with this?
Oh, he left what looks like his calling card.
He'll be in the canteen. But he'll see me coming a mile away and try to sneak out. Since you don't know each other, you can walk right up to him.
Good idea.
Let's play it this way. You intercept Steve at the canteen, and me and me boys are waited outside. Make sure he doesn't try and give you the slip.
Sounds solid.
Keep us in your back pocket. But if he gets cagey, then tell him we're outside waiting. So we can talk to you,
or come out and talk to us. We're more likely to be talking with our fists.
I'll do that.
I don't like
I have no problem with that. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
So, this card belong to you?
Well, it sure does. Where'd you find it? How may I serve you?
Well, you can serve me by telling me what you know of Bart and Andy.
Never heard of them. Even if I had, I take client confidentiality very seriously.
And I take finding them very seriously.
How seriously?
Stop fucking with me. You want something for the info? Say it. Wasn't asking for charity.
Well, that changes everything. Okay, I'll tell you what you need to know.
But?
But you gotta do something for me in return. First.
Yeah, like what?
Like? Oh, I don't know. Oh, give me a sec. I want to come up with something good.
If you're just gonna waste my time,
Hold up. Okay, almost got it. Yes. I know what you need to do. You gotta sing.
Excuse me?
You look like you got a set of pipes on you. Let's hear you belt one out. Ballad, upbeat number, doesn't matter to me. Ooh, I know. Rap.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, well, if you want me to tell you about Bart, then you'll do it.
That's ridiculous.
Judging by your reaction, might be therapeutic. You got the music in you. Let it out.
You can't be serious.
Last chance to get what you want. Rap like no one's listening. Although everyone in this place most certainly will be.
Fine. I'll do it.
More flies with honey.
Whenever Matt walks into the canteen,
Though I can't tell.
seriously,
Well,
Looking sharp, Aiden.
Let's see if you can lay it down. Talk to me, bro.
Let me introduce myself. Aiden is my name. Villador's my jungle gym, and that ain't no shame. You know I can climb, but I can also bust a rhyme. Yeah! So being a pilgrim ain't my only claim to fame.
Hey, tell us about it, brother!
Let's talk about the people that I've met in this town. Some are good, some are bad, and plenty are down. We got those who are scheming, and those who are dreaming. Yeah! I hope it's in your love, not toxic waste that I drown!
That's what I'm talking about!
I mean, I think Suki don't think I should have stuff.
I say ass, you say white! White! I say ass, you say white! I say ass! You say white! I say ass! Ass! White! That's right.
That's wrong, dude! Look at the roads!
And that's my introduction. It's who I be. I'm here on a mission, most definitely. My path I am choosing, but you won't see me losing. Yeah! Won't stop till my past is revealed to me.
Ooh, man of mystery. I like it. Oh man, you are a healthquake, Aiden. You gotta keep going. You're eating you up.
Why not? Gotta give the people what they want, right?
Yeah.
They call me a miracle, a lyrical shotgunner. Here to regale you with the tale of the night runners. They sided with the people at the time of the fall.
Yeah!
And I think you'll agree that the story is a starter!
Dude, edge of my seat, man! Totally!
First we got virals, they're biting baby beasts. Then volatiles and biters, on your flesh they will feast. If you're high in the air, banshees give you a scare.
Yeah!
And that's just a little sample of the chemically deceased!
You're taking me there, man! Genius!
The tower was their doom! You sing, the tower was their doom!
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 This is getting...
You sing!
The tower was their doom!
There were traitors in the room!
The tower was their doom! The tower was their doom!
The building became the tomb because...
The tower was their doom! The tower was their doom! Yeah!
Oh, you're bringing a tear to my eye, man!
That's some of the dark side of Stumpster Fire Town. Plus, all of its leaders are incurable ass clowns. This place ain't all dope, and there ain't that much hope.
Oh, yeah!
Cause when it comes to shitholes, this city takes the crown!
Dude, you're talking about my home, man! Come on! Props to you, my brother! You got Mad Mike skills!
Are we done then?
Come on, man. Let's talk.
That took a very name.
That place is cursed, I tell you.
That's what I call an unforgettable performance. Gotta admit, when I asked you to sing, I was yanking your chain. But that was perfect.
You're gonna tell me what I need to know, or I'm...
Oh, right away. No further delay. Fine. Your Bobsy twins hired me to make sure they and their kid got to the Colonel safely. Paid well, easy job, really. But we ran into a peacekeeper patrol along the way. Nasty bunch. Your boys freaked the hell out, worried about the kid, and had me leave them right then and there. I mean, what do I care? They paid me up front.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
You sure?
Believe me, I'd love to drop another quarter in the jukebox for one more song, but I'm being honest here. That's all I know.
All right then. Tell me where you left them.
There's an old coffee shop, not far from here, by the off-ramp from the E12, by a metro stop. You can figure it out from there.
I saw Frank and barely recognized him. He had the energy of someone half his age.
Where's the because I think I should tell him, because otherwise he's gonna get
I
angry.
heard Frank's message to the night runner.
It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm gonna have a showdown with them anyway, but you know, influence it a little bit, you know, a bad idea, but it also might. You know what? Hey. Let's go to Dave. Came to me. wasn't sure if that's what would happen. So I want... It would have been nice if it grabbed.
Signs of a fight. Recent, too. Very recent. Oh, the weapon broke. Looks familiar.
All right. No.
They're hiding nearby. Based on this, they gotta be.
Another of us, pagan. Karina was only 26 years old. The hand of justice will reach those who cut short her
Ah, here we go.
Who the hell are you, and what do you want?
Whoa, calm down. Yeah, I'm just here to talk. You look familiar. You Bart?
Yeah. You're Aiden. Demire sent you.
Yeah, she told me to find you and get back what you stole. But I talked to Sta, and more than a few others about you. Maybe think there's more to this situation than meets the eye.
Meyer tried, but she couldn't help. I couldn't take it anymore. Day after day.
Will you two keep it down? Liam's asleep in the next room.
But whatever your personal issues are, desertion and theft are serious. She plans to send her men for you.
She'll get a lot of volunteers for the search team. I'll be executed on the spot if they find me. Probably why she sent you. Give me a running start.
So, you did steal the map.
It isn't a map, per se, but tells the location of some secret PK stash. Weapons, I bet. It's all I can think of to offer in exchange for the Colonel granting safe haven to the three of us.
I see.
Like hell. People like you never do. You never see.
Andy, stay out of this.
It's too late for that. You know it. Fuck this map or stash or whatever the fuck it is. The PK are the monsters here.
Surely you understand. You'd have taken this from me by now if you didn't.
Is that what you think?
I do. If you go back to Meyer and tell her you've killed us, I'll give you the coded message. And my dog tags. Do this. Please. Just let us be.
I sympathize. But desertion and theft are serious crimes, and I have a job to do.
Please. This isn't desertion. This is survival. Not just for me, but Andy and Liam as well.
Would you please just help us?
Yeah.
None of you deserve this. Least of all, Liam. I'll help you.
Oh, thank God.
Andy, give Aiden the message and my dog tags. It's okay.
If you say so.
I had planned on going to the ship's library and finding a book or two that could help me decipher it. But things went south real quick. I didn't have time to check.
Maybe I'll check. I'm curious what this is all about.
Just don't get caught, or you'll be right behind us. Assuming you don't get caught, you'll never see us again.
You're better off not going to the Colonel anyway. You know they call him the Butcher, right?
We don't have a choice.
What do you do?
We'll stay here for now, till we figure out what to do next.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. If I could find you here, others could just as easily. You should keep moving.
You're right. We gotta keep a low profile in any case. But at least we're alive, and we'll be together.
I wish you all luck. Take care.
Clint's about to show it.
Looks like we got a real party going on here.
You're Clint's men, I gather.
Yep, he weren't kidding. You're a real bloodhound to track these pervs down like you did.
Wait there. I'll handle this.
Your work is done here. Just give us the map, and we'll take it to the canteen where Clint's waiting for it.
Yeah, I don't trust
Not a chance. Tell Clint to fuck off. This goes to Meyer.
That's that too.
Fuck off! We do the fucking around here, buddy. So get ready for us to fuck you up. Man, I just been waiting for an excuse to kill you. And now I got it. Get him!
See ya.
Enjoy killing you.
You, You maybe don't want to take Liam out.
You're safe. They can't hurt you now.
If only that was the last of our worries. Don't talk like that. We're alive, thanks to Aiden.
I suppose. What'll happen to us now?
One step at a time, Andy. Let's get packing. Quickly.
Good idea. You don't want anyone else finding you.
It wants to kill me!
Okay, none of them are interactable at the moment. I do kind of wonder if I have the opportunity to tell mine.
We see some action.
I mean, it doesn't seem unreasonable. No, hang on, I'll make this. Alright, hold up. After the encounter, waltz every time you go to sleep or get an upgrade from the inhibitor. There is a pulse pain. There we go. A pulse of pain and a blue vein on the screen. Suggestive type of Aiden turning into a superhuman Gwalt. Despite how long time happens over, there is no mention of it. He doesn't tell anyone or ask anyone about it, including one who, in theory, could share. Since she was also, and also, another note that I want to make. There does not appear to be any immediate percussion with signing survivor PK facility, except those that initially have specific story meaning. The first ones you do. Well, like the first water tower, first substation, and technically the VNC radio. Might matter in the end, but it does not seem to have any significance in the game, which is rather annoying. I'm seriously, that's something that, it's kind of like the whole Lawan stuff that I've talked about in previous part. That's like, this was something, I can remember that's like, oh, there's consequences for doing this. What are they? I've not run into them. It's not to say that they don't exist, I don't know. But that's also kind of the problem. It kind of reminds me of something that I thought of, because I saw... So Sifu is a game that has also come out recently, and I actually, it's funny. I actually could have gotten a review key for it. But it's like, I don't have time, because like I just... Let me see, by that time I already had the review key for this. I hadn't started on it yet. But also had gotten the review key for, and I may have started on, or was at least preparing for, Series Sam Siberian Mayhem. So it's like, I've already got 2 reviews, I have a day job, I don't have... But I saw something, I didn't look too closely at it, but it seemed to be that somebody asking the question of, and I need water.
I got your 6. Move on, soldier.
Of does a reviewer have to finish a game in order to review it? Or does that invalidate the review if they don't? Now, obviously, being someone who has reviewed games, and I can also think of one, Gods Will Fall, that I did not finish that game, but that's also a roguelike. How do you actually finish it? I mean, that does seem a fair question, right? Oh, cool. Don't suppose I got the... well...
You're back. And?
And your boy Clint was a real charmer. Thanks for that.
Look, I had to double down on finding Bart. Tell me you found him at least.
I did.
And?
Here's
his dog tags. He's a little too dead right now to need them anymore.
But Aiden! You weren't supposed to kill him! Even I wasn't gonna let that happen.
He attacked me. I had to defend myself.
I see. But the map. Tell me you at least got the map.
Yeah.
Right here, as promised. And I know it's not a map.
Whatever. Thank fucking Christ. If the Colonel or anyone had gotten a hold of this, it would have fucked up months of planning. Things are now unfucked. Thanks to you.
I'm glad to hear it.
It's like, now, as far as she knows, it's done. So, anyway. But the whole, does a review have to finish it? And as I said, Gods Will Fall, I technically didn't finish, but it's a roguelike. How do you actually finish it? I mean, it's like, technically, you know, if you get all the way, you know, if you complete it, but it's like, well, sometimes even that's not the case. And some would say, oh, well, you gotta, you know, beat it multiple times or whatever. So it's like, those are open-ended games. How do you actually do that? But it's also just... Let's consider this hypothetical, okay? That a reviewer is playing a game, and let's go with doesn't like it. Okay, because if you're enjoying a game, why would you not continue to play it, right? And isn't like... I'm not pausing, I'm playing. Okay? And puts in so many hours, but hasn't finished. And this game is not an example, because I am enjoying it. But let's say it is. Let's say that for whatever reason, I'm not enjoying this game. I am. I really don't. Yeah. I have, at this point, 30 hours in. There's certainly more to do. Actually, I probably have this more than 30. Okay. So, like, I definitely have time in here. But let's say that I put in 10. And it just wasn't clicking for me. I wasn't getting into it. But I put in 10. Or even 5. Now go back. I want you to look at those first 5 or 10 hours. Has anything really changed that much? I'm serious. Like, this is when I see somebody talking about, like, oh, you gotta finish the game. It's like, name a game where there's actually a distinct point where it's like, okay, no, it's only at this point that it starts getting good. Before that, it's only mediocre or bad. Tell me a game that's like that that's actually a good game. Now, I will also grant, though, that this one is also in a way a bad example, because Old Villador, you were in that for quite a while. But it still is, you get the game. I mean, it's like, there's not really a surprise there. So, obviously, it is always best if a reviewer finishes the game. But it's still, for somebody to be like, oh, well, I'm just, it's inaccurate, it's invalid if you don't finish. It's like, no, it's not. I mean, many games, it's like, even in 2 hours, sometimes less, you got it. You know what's going on. Yes, there will be more. Like, the whole paraglider, which, okay, I will grant, getting the paraglider, that does kind of change the experience. But it still is, for many games, it doesn't take full game to figure out what's going on. And if the game suddenly changes, was like, oh, now it's a good game. That's not a good game. If it's like, this game is bad, or this is a game I don't care about, just suddenly, oh my god, this is an amazing game. That's badly made. I mean, think about a movie. And I did see somebody try to say, you wouldn't trust a movie review that was only, if somebody only watched half the movie. It's like, where's a movie that, the first hour is good, or the first hour is bad, and then it turns itself around and becomes worth it? Probably not gonna be able to name. Or even if you do, it's still gonna be the whole, wasn't a good movie. And also, for the record, it's like, going forward, I mean, I don't want to ever, stop playing a game. I hate it when I do that, especially if it's, a game I'm reviewing. But sometimes, like, Gods Will Fall, I in no way enjoyed that game. I recognize that there are plenty of people out there that would enjoy them. But that's not me, and I don't review a game based on somebody else's experience. It's my experience. And if I don't like it, I'm going to say I don't like it. And move on. I mean, I feel like with some of it, though, it's like some people that's like, oh, you should have just kept playing, and then it's like, okay, that's telling me you really like the game. It's a game you like. And you just want other people to confirm that. Or it's a game you don't actually like, you're convincing, so if you like and want to have other people confirm that. That's a harsh interpretation, but possible for some. But it's like, I mean, you do get an idea of what's going on pretty early. I mean, it's kind of like how I've been saying quite a while. I'm going to be recommending this game. It's solidly in that. And with my whole idea of categorizing my recommendation, this would be a 3. So that's center recommendation. 2 would be, like, flavored a little poorly. Like, it's... I need to, like, explain the whole thing. This also helps me solidify in my mind what I'm talking about. So, what I do is I have recommend, fail to recommend, and recommend again. And that's how I've been doing it for you. And I will do qualifications. Like Gods Will Fall would be a you gotta actually be into roguelikes. Yeah. Roguelike and roguelite I hate. And just it's like, can we please have those genre names be more distinct? Come on. I don't want to do that. I don't want. That's it. But what yeah, as I was saying, I always have some qualifications. Like this, I don't really know what qualifications I would have. I guess the only one I can really think of at the moment is... Because I don't even feel like you really need to know the first game.
Biomarker in plain view.
But potentially the...
Lose a hand, pal. No order.
I mean, it's a long game. You have to, you know, be interested.
And you'll be whipped. Am I making myself clear?
You have to be willing to invest a lot of time into. And that's, you know, not even much of a qualification. I mean, this is just a good game. I'm just trying to think, what would be another game that might... Besides Gods Will Fall. Which, I don't remember if I gave that a fail to recommend or recommend against. It might have been a recommend against, but with the qualification of, this is not a game for me. Which is a completely fair thing to do, by the way, to say, I hate this game. Basically, you know, for a reviewer to be like, nope, can't stand this.
Repeat. I need... Lance Gallagher. Supplies. Running short.
Hello, can you hear me?
I don't know how much longer.
Hello? Piece of crap. You're the one? I found an old radio. Someone needs help, but the signal's too weak, even on a roof.
Okay, savior of the oppressed. Get closer to something that'll boost the signal. Ever hear of an antenna?
Thanks, Luan.
Try not to fall, okay?
Is she back to being nice to me, or is this just, you know, a bit... like, it's just canned? Anyway, so, actually for something else, I put together, because I like that, you know, recommend, fail to recommend, and recommend against. I like that as breakdown, because fundamentally that's how it should be. Just, do you actually recommend this game? Because you could, you know, have a game where it's like, it's a beautiful game, the gameplay is solid, but it's not that much fun. I mean, it's, you know, that can happen. And it's like, you know, would you actually recommend playing it? And fundamentally, that even with a scored review, that's kind of what it is. But the score is also kind of obscured because, you know, you're looking at that score, not what the person's actually saying. And what I'm doing with my thing is not score; it's just category. So it's like, so the idea would be to have flavors of recommended, fail to recommend, and recommend against. Go up this. And the easiest one I think to explain would be, you know, the fail to recommend, which the whole thing is balanced at 0. So a 0 is just a solid, I cannot recommend this one way or the other. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just is. But then, like, a -1.
Can you hear me now?
Locked up. Fucking electrical substation. Downtown. There's chance. At the lowest level.
The lowest level of the downtown electrical substation, right, Lance? Oh, come on, can you hear me?
Infected. Infected are coming.
I'm on my way. Hold on.
Oh, didn't even realize that was there. So yeah, 0 is just dead center, one way or the other. Can't. -1 would be like, yeah, I'm still only failing to recommend this. I'm not saying you shouldn't play it, but it's like, it's not good. It has flaws and you're gonna feel it. Whereas a 1 would be a, I can't say you should play this, but it's like, it has potential kind of thing. It's like, you know, it's possible to like this, but it's really not that good. So I can't say you should play it, but, you know, there's worse things you could do. Then you'd have like a 2, 3, and 4, which are recommended, which are the categories for that. So 3 is just that, yeah, it's a solid recommend. Whereas a 2 would be like, yeah, I'm still recommending it, but you need to understand that this is like not a very strong recommendation. It's a weak recommendation. Where it's like, it's got flaws, you're probably gonna feel them, but overall, it's, you know, it's still a good game. I'm trying to think what might be good. I've not been using this idea for very long. I mean, this would be the second game I do it with. There we go. So just trying to think, what's another game that could even do it with, example. I don't really know, but it would be like, you know, I guess maybe that's one way to put it. A 1, so that's a failed recommend, would be like, yeah, I'm failing to recommend it, but it's like there's potential here that's just not there. It's like, I can see it being fun, but it's not there. A 2 would be more like, you know, it's got potential and it's tapping it, but it's still not there. A 3 is a, nope, this is good, this is solid, this is how I want it to be, but it doesn't necessarily impress. It's not a, you gotta play this game. It's a good game, you know, so you see it, you're interested, get it. It would be more like that. And then, you know, the 4 would be, you know, no, you have to play. I was just trying to, yeah, that's what 4 would be. Oh, that one. Wait, what? Son. I thought when it popped, it said I need to go. When, like, the additional message, I thought that it was pointing up. Anyway, that's fine. It'll still, you know, let me get over here easily, you know. But the reason I started talking about that was, like, I knew this was a 3, was a solid recommend, and I may have been saying 2 earlier and just forgetting the categories. But it's a solid, you know, right in the middle recommend. That's what this is. I've known that for, you know, probably within the first 5 hours. It's not going to change that much. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, does it still have the potential to impress me?
They almost got me. Please.
But where? I can't see anything.
It's possible. It's unlikely. At this point, it really is. Most of the stuff here is really set. What did I... How do I get in there? Well...
Oh, gate. Blocked. There must be another entrance.
Anyone, please. Repeat, I need help. Can anyone hear me?
I hear you.
Well, yeah, and it's like, being able to recognize that, there's nothing wrong with that. And being able to recognize that, no, it's like you figure it out in a few hours and then you can go further with it, but... Wait. I am hearing something that might be bad. Sound like a snowplow going by, which might be bad because that might mean you can't get out of the driveway. I mean, I don't drive. My day job, I get to work remote. Which is very helpful since, as I said, I don't drive. But, still not fun.
Oh, shit. Looks like I'm too late. By a few years.
This is Lance Gallagher. The supplies are running low. I don't know how much longer I can last. I ran in here to try to get away from them. They're clawing at the door. I'm trapped. Fucking electrical substation. But there's still a chance. If anyone can hear me, I'm on the lowest level of the electrical substation. Downtown. Oh, God. They're coming. Infected. They're coming. Please. Oh, God. They're finally gone. Safe. I'm safe. This is Lance Gallagher. The supplies are running low.
This recording must have been made years ago. And when the electricity went on, it started playing in a loop. Whoa.
Okay. So, do I want to do the next antenna or do I want to okay. Maybe by the time I get there, it'll be. Yeah, so I know I've kind of blathered. That's what I do. But it is just. I do feel that when somebody said, when somebody is trying to say that, oh well, your opinion isn't valid because you just need to spend more time in this. It's like that's not really valid, though. Your argument it does not really hold water because some games you just don't like, and you realize that, and then you stop playing them. I mean, maybe if whoever's arguing that is somebody who has never not completed a game, including games they didn't like, maybe they can, have something to say, but otherwise, I don't really care. You think. But it's also, no reviewer should really care what... This is going to sound harsh, but no reviewer should really care what the reader thinks. They need to... The purpose of reviewing is to share your experience, your opinion, not somebody else's. If you start failing to do that, then you're not reviewing it. And that's a problem. Now, obviously, you should care as far as, making sure you're doing a good job, but... that's different from, doing it by somebody else's standards. No, it needs to be by your standards. You're the reviewer.
Pretty good. But now, it's not so sure.
I mean, I feel like it's got to be like a level below. I don't know. I also don't know how it...
Inhibitor container detected.
I mean, it does seem like they're there. You know, there's also another question with the whole, can a review be written before you're finishing? Before you finish the game? What about an in-progress review? So it's like, take this game. It's like, I could have, in theory, decided to just start writing based on what I had experienced, you know, partway through, and then just, I mean, we're not really set up for reviewing reviewing anything like that. You know, like go back in and edit it after the fact. That's not really how it's set up. But even if it were, would that review be invalid until I finished playing? I don't think so. Because my experience that I'd be talking about, that's still the experience I had. My opinion on that experience is still the opinion I had on that part of it. I mean, I guess kind of the fundamental issue I have with people making an argument like that is it's basically somebody saying your opinion isn't valid. And it's entirely possible that the reason they're saying that is just they disagree with your opinion. Not that it's actually invalid, but that they just don't like it. Which, hey, that's their opinion. That's fine. That's a lousy opinion. I mean, lousy opinion to be like, nah. I'm just gonna discount your opinion. It's like, well, why should I count yours? But it is also, you know, kind of that point that I said earlier, is that, are you somebody that finishes...
I'm near the GRE lab.
Pilgrim, you better wait until nighttime. It's probably swarming with infected during the day.
Where do I look for the bodies?
You'll learn everything from the recording.
Oh.
I can't listen to it. Over and out.
Little Ron, the base? The exit downstairs is jammed, so we're gonna try and find a way out at the top. Sierra and I found Private Kitty in the lobby on the lowest level. What's that? Dick? Kitty, you're just far. Is that how happy you are to see us? What? No, I didn't. We missed you, punk.
I mean, it really doesn't matter. I'm exploring.
Get our asses out of here. Admit it, Sierra. You're the one who farted and tried to blame me. Did you? What the fuck was that? I don't care! To the stairs! Base, there's a swarm of fighters chasing us. We lost Kitty in the lobby. Run! I'm on the second floor. I'll one down from you, right by the door. I'll be right up. Run! Keep going, Sierra! Fucking many of them! You coming?
Yeah, that's a volatile over there.
Ron, are you up here? Ron, is that you? No, no!
Too bad I don't really see anything about it. Like, I don't see a convoy that I could care about. I just have to wait. Now I'm also thinking, are there any games that I've played and not finished because they weren't good? Well, no, because they were bad. I actually can't think. I'm serious. I can think of some bad games, but I've typically finished them. But I would just like power through them. It's the ones that like don't connect with me at all that are just boring. Those are the ones that I don't finish. Or ones like Gods Will Fall, that just fully does not connect with me. And it's not that it's boring, but you know, that roguelike design. I hope I'm having that right. Whichever it is where it's like, no, you lose everything when you die. As opposed to, I think it's roguelite key, where it is, you don't lose everything. So, like Hades is an example of that. The last spell, crap, Loop Hero, that's the name. Those would be roguelites. I think that's, I don't quite remember, but those I like, where it's like, failure is not, it doesn't absolutely punish you. Which is exactly what roguelikes, if I have it right, that's what those do. Is they do absolutely punish you, and I hate that. So it's like that, if it's not connecting with me as well, then it's, I'm not gonna, you know, I will give up on it. Because it's like, I'm not having any fun. Because it's also, playing those games, I'm not that good. But then it's also, I play those games in such a different way than some of the people that really enjoy them. And it's a way that just, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like Hades, okay? Which I do have. Would you stop doing that? I didn't want him vaulting over it, and that's all he was doing. Wow, this is... What the hell's the point of that ladder? You can't get up to this! But with Hades, so... As I said, it's a roguelite. So... The way it works is, you know, you do something that's procedurally generated, the levels are procedurally generated, so it's always different. What? That wasn't count. Anyway, so it's always different, right? And what some people do, and this is what doesn't make any sense to me, like that it's completely not how I play, is they will like wipe their attempt if it's like, oh, the start wasn't good, they didn't like the blessing, the abilities. I think in Hades it is blessing. It's been a while since I played. It's like they like, oh, I didn't like how that started, so I'm just gonna restart and, you know, clear that and start over. It's like, no, I don't play that. It's like, it doesn't matter if it was good or bad. How it started there. I'm gonna play it. I will play through. I will just, you know, go as far as I can and then die and reset and hope it's better. But yeah, that kind of gameplay though, that's not the kind that I like. In some ways, I like the whole, you know, I'm doing it the hard way there, where it's like, no, I'm just, you know, I'm gonna brute force this to try to get through and ultimately fail, because with a game like Hades, you still benefit from it. Game like Last Spell, you benefit from it. Game like Loop Hero, you benefit from it. Game like Gods Will Fall, you don't benefit from it. And I really don't like that. But it's like, you know, there's still a benefit from that, and also it's practice. Which is important. Do need to practice. Hades does demand good time. Want to make sure the volatile... actually... Oh crap! You're not supposed to be here! Seriously, he's not supposed to be. I need to craft. And That actually, like, scared me enough. I now don't remember what I was talking about. A little bit, but I don't remember how I got there. If I have a point, I want to try to come back around. Hang on. Okay, it is one that... Why was it... Oh, no, yeah. I can't upgrade the, That'll get 50.
Inhibitor container near.
I don't have the charm, so I don't have that. Oh yeah, just how people play games clumsily made. And that, you know, for some of it, it's like maybe that's why I don't like roguelites. Is that it demands that kind of gameplay. And that's antithetical to me. It's like, no, that is not at all how I would ever choose to play a game. The wiping, that it just... It doesn't make sense. It doesn't connect in the league. And I'm not judging that as a, like, oh, they're playing it wrong or anything like that. No. Play the game how you want to play. I know I play some games very weirdly compared to others. But it's just... I think that kind of gets to the whole... Different people like different games. And for different reasons. And it genuinely is a... Some games don't connect with... Like, I'm certain there are probably plenty of games out there that this game would... You know, I can think of another good example, Dark Souls. That's a game that in no way connects. I do not like the game at all. And I have played it. I also cheated through it because I totally dislike the that design of just being overly difficult. Because it's like, why? What's the benefit? It's like, how does that make it fun? I mean, I can understand somebody saying, oh, but then it's so much more rewarding when you succeed. But then it's like, okay, but I can't succeed because it's so damn hard. What am I supposed to do about that? Seriously, what am I supposed to do then for it to be fun? And the worst part about it to me, with regards to Dark Souls, is how it had such an outsized impact, I think, impact on the games industry. Unfortunately, it's not really here, but there's a lot of games that have elements to it that are from Dark Souls, and it's like, it's the stuff I don't like. One way to put it would be that is that an enemy? Would be that they became this fad of having excessively difficult and unnecessary game design. And it's like, why are we like taking that as though that's what players want in every game? And it just, I don't understand. But that's exactly what we got in some games. So it's like, there's no reason for it to be like this, and yet it is. Yeah, there are definitely fads in games that are not always positive or neutral, I guess. Even though some would say that, no, that's not new. Like Battle Royale or MOBA. Some would probably say those aren't new. I'll say that they are, though. Well, you can definitely find examples where they were bad. You can probably also find examples where they were good, though, so maybe it's out. Oh. You know, and what I mean by them potentially being positive is, like, some games, it's like, yeah, Battle Royale mode itself nicely to it. Others, like Tetris, how the hell did that...
Container nearby.
Not that I've played that, but it still is, how the hell do you get Battle Royale and Tetris to work? I mean, they did. Okay, apparently I... Oh, geez, that's a lot of the... There. But at least with those, it's like, oh, well, we're just doing, you know, something different here, or trying to find a way for it to apply in a logical way, but it's Dark Souls. Just like the obsession over stamina and precision of movement and stamina management. More so that than anything. This game, yes, we have stamina, and yes, it does impact your ability to attack and such, but it has not once felt onerous. Which is not the case in Dark. And there have been others, what others? Where it's like, I don't feel like I can move appropriately, I can't move freely, because, oh, no, I'm out of stamina again. And also, there never really seems to be an appreciation of adrenaline in regards to stamina. I was like, I'm sorry, if a volatile's chasing me, I'm not running out of stamina. That's just not a thing that's going to happen. I'm going to be running until it's no longer behind me. But no, that's not what you have in any game that I can think of. It's always... No, just stamina. Once you have stamina, you're done. It's like, no, that's... There is adrenaline that will keep you going. So my point there is just that, you know, some of the stuff is also just done badly. It's like, nah, that's not actually or just, you know, kind of that whole reality of you're just gonna, you know, run through that pain. That depending on the situation, it don't matter how tired you feel, you're getting out of that.
Inhibitor container nearby.
One more, so I'm at that 500. guess also another thing about it that really annoys me is how some of the stamina works. Is how sometimes it's not really well contained. Oh, another thing. Oh, yeah. That's definitely one thing from Dark Souls that is how some elements to the boss design are basically that you need to be killed by it a few times before you can actually figure out how that goes. And I don't know. It just actually occurred to me. Darksiders 3 is an example of a game that, yes, does clearly have Dark Souls influence on it, but it's actually not terrible. I mean the influence. The game itself is actually pretty fun. That would probably be a 2 or 3. I don't know. It's been a while since I played it. The original Dark Souls would be a 3. Sorry, Darksiders. The original Darksiders. Darksiders 1 War, that would be a 3. Darksiders 2, probably a 2. I don't know where I put Darksiders.
Sorry, I gotta take this.
Yeah, I don't actually know. But it's also, for me, partly with boss design, is there are very broadly, generally, and inaccurately, oversimplified, 2 different kinds of bosses. There are, like, actual combat, action bosses, if you will. Hello. And there are, puzzle bosses. Puzzle boss, the defining characteristic there is...
You were one tough son of a gun, weren't you?
Is... once you figure out a puzzle boss, it's supposed to actually basically be irrelevant. An example I can think of from Darksiders 3 was Blood. I think it was like, this is a puzzle boss. It truly is a puzzle boss. But it has way too much health. The damage it did was fine. Well, the damage it did was not correct, actually, for being a puzzle. Well, for having as much health as it did. It was overpowered. But it's like, if you just tone down the power, its health, it actually would have been fine. Then it would have been okay. But that was a puzzle. It was like, once you realize that, oh, it's these attacks you dodge this way, those attacks you dodge that way, and you can figure that out during the combat as well, not like in some of the Dark Souls games where it's like, no, because if you get hit by it even once, you're dead. Where they're overpowered that way. Yeah, Darksiders 3 had just enough forgiveness. Sort of like Liberty. I've yet to play it, and I probably won't. Well, how much time I have. Stuff like that. But they actually did release an update to it that did change the gameplay to actually be more like the previous 2 Darksiders. Yeah, I don't know if I would put that at a 2 or 3. I really don't. It was better than Darksiders 2. That's easy. That's easy. But see, that's the thing about my categories here, is that a game can be better than a 2, like Darksiders 2 was. That doesn't mean it's 3. It's not a scoring system. It's really just categories. What is the strength of the recommendation? And I think I did that I did have enough fun with it for it to deserve a recommendation. Oh, I just realized. I know, it's so stupid. Oh, and as far as... Not that... Yeah, no one wants the video anyway. But anyone that's like, you know, what is the meaning, what is the value to these scores going forward? Like, will I go back and,
Container nearby.
Anyway, perfect. Would I go back and add scores to previous games?
Younger than me.
To games I've previously reviewed? No. I don't want to. It would be like I'd have to replay the game. And not even like an actual legitimate Let's Play Plus thing. So like I'm trying to do Just Cause 2 as the Saturday streams, but I'm playing once a week. I wouldn't score it based on that. That wouldn't be fair because it's once a week. But I would say this. Just Cause 2 and 3 I'd probably both say 3. Probably. Because I enjoyed those games quite a lot. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I would go to a 4 for one. I'm not sure. Like, maybe I would say, no, you have to play it. I'm just not sure. I'd have to think about it. Oh, hey, also... Oh, wait, what? Okay, I wasn't paying close attention. Huh. Okay, that I think. I... Just Cause 4, though, that would be a 1. I think. Well, no, maybe it would have to be a... That one gets a little tricky. Because a reason why I would put it lower is because it offered nothing, in my opinion, over Just Cause 3. Like, performance wasn't better. I'm unconvinced about... any gameplay improvements to it. It you know, it did nothing. Nothing that Just Cause 3 didn't do. And I think I actually enjoyed the color palette of Just Cause 3 more as well. So, I mean, it's like... Yeah. I actually would like to get some way to... That won't happen. That, I think, will. Yep, this doesn't.
Yesterday, I know.
But yeah, but because I'm going by my memory, that's why it's like I shouldn't actually do that. Shouldn't come with scores for these games. Yeah, it will. Alright, and I don't... I mean, I'll hang on. I mean, this stuff might be selling. That's not... Oh, wait, yeah, it is. Hey, let me... All future and effect. Nah, I think actually what I have is. No, I think what I have is.
Clearly haven't drank enough of the vehicle.
Oh, I just realized that I have. I won't sell that. That I should actually stick into the thing, into the stash. Let's go. No, I didn't really look. I just dumped. I like stamina regen. But now, and I do actually want to stop.
Conversation.
Right.
Me. Got me. Is it the? That's. Okay.
Nine sure flies.
I'm gonna do here. Not here. So let's see if I can. Here. I guess it was. I want to see if I can. No, it is. I'd really like to pick up all of these. What? Military convoys. As opposed to an evacuate. The other. There. Okay. Wait. What? Yeah, that's not placed. There we go. Oh, there is also that. I guess going back, you know what. But I do wonder what. Not that I did a good job of making my argument or giving my reason for the whole. No, you don't need to demand a reviewer. And let me be clear. that's most of what I mean. It's like, it does not invalidate a reviewer's opinion just because they don't necessarily finish the game. It's like that is not at all, in my opinion, how that should be. Especially if, what the reason is. Because if it is no, I'm not enjoying the game, I think it's a bad game. That was very... I have no idea. I just stopped moving forward. Anyway. It's like, if that's the reason, then it's like, no, that's fair to stop. Because you're not going to suddenly find yourself enjoying the game. That's... You can't be, oh, surprise, it's actually a good game now. 5 hours in. It's like, no. You're spending 5 hours in a game to finally for it to be good. Before that, you hated it. That's not a good game. And it should be treated as not a good game by that reviewer. I mean, obviously for a reviewer that does like it, that's different. Although it is also true that if you have somebody who does like a game, it is not... You can't... I'm gonna do that. I forgot. I picked that one up. I forgot about it. Well, I picked up that it was there.
We lost track of the future.
I can actually see an argument, though, that even if you like a game, that's actually more reason why, yes, you shouldn't review it until you actually finish it. Because you can run into the situation of, like, the game being, getting very monotonous. And you might be like, you know what? It's a good game, but it got boring. Which doesn't really happen to me. And I know that. I understand how, yes, there are games that can be very monotonous. And it makes it hard to recommend. But I'm also, I mean, like, there would be some that would say that this game is monotonous at this point, especially because, I do stuff where I just run off and explore. And it's like, oh, well, I don't like doing that. Some people would be like that, so it's like, oh, I wouldn't recommend the game because so much of it is that. It's like, I like that though. But there have been games, I think one, where it actually did feel monotonous. It actually did feel bored. And it's like, okay, you know what? Put that there. Oh, I'm right here. Awesome. So, if that's the case, it's like, well then yes, if you are enjoying it, you need to keep playing it, because you may find that, this gets monotonous, and you should cover that then in the... So in a way, in that, you can have a good game not turn bad, although that is possible, it's unlikely. But you can have a good game where it's like, you find there's this qualifier. Another example there might be, well, a hypothetical example could be, it's a good game, but endgame sucks. That's certainly the case with some. It's like the end game of a game is like, no, this sucks. It's boring, or it's completely balanced around co-op, things like that, where it's like, no, this, or where it's all just great, which is something personally I don't have friends, so. Yeah, no. Yes, I do have friends. It's not like I get to interact with them that much, though. I mean, hey, when you spend 10 years chronically unemployed, you don't really have an opportunity to make weird how that happens. But I have kept, one, two, mainly just one. Another I literally haven't heard from for you. And it's like, yeah, I do have one that has been my friend for like 13 years now. Which is awesome and great and all that. Does not play video games. So it's like completely irrelevant. So it's like, no, I do not play games with friends because none of my friends play games. Well, my friend does not play games. Nothing wrong with that. She also doesn't really read me. It is more annoying when I, write a story and sharing it and it's like, hey, what do you think? It's like, yeah, she's not reading it. To be fair though, it's like she's got, her daughter to take care of and also, her husband who's probably even harder to take care of. I say that as an insult to all men. Hey, I'm a guy. I can make that joke because I know it'll be. If I'm ever so fortunate as to get married, I'm certain that the joke will continuously be that the infant is easier to take care of than you. I'm good with that. That's just how it is. I'll do my best, but it won't be enough. But it would also be one of those, hey, you still married me. You knew it. You knew it coming in. Come on. Let's just, get through the day. And he's a good guy. I've known him just as long. I'm not as close a friend with him. But yeah, I've known him just really good couple. But they don't. Well, he does play video. Probably not that. I don't think we overlap much because he is probably more so a console. But it's like, whatever.
Deals with these damn renegades.
And it's there's some raid stuff I just don't get. And like,
Come here.
I've got some of the races to see who can beat a raid first. And part of the reason to that there are the races is who can figure out what the stupid ass mechanic. I hate that. It's like, why do I have to think that I'm gonna need to read and study some blog post that somebody made in order to figure out a damn game? I reject that. I think that's absolutely terrible.
Hey, Kyra.
So, have you found any dog tags yet?
So I was getting water.
I found the dog tags of Sierra, Little Ron, and Kitty.
Thank you, Pilgrim. This is for you. Do you have the other dog tags?
Not the moment.
Did Sierra and Little Ron know there were screamers in this lab?
Sierra certainly assumed that possibility. He wasn't stupid. I remember how we laughed at Sierra. We used to call him Brains. He kept getting job offers from the top. But he never cared for climbing the ladder. He preferred to stick close to his brother, Brasco. As for little Ron, he joined the PK after having lost his son. Who knows? Maybe he went back for Kitty because he reminded him of his boy.
I'm still looking.
Chances against renegades were pretty good. But now,
That's what I thought that it didn't go. Alright, that. And I want that. I lost track of what I was saying. I know I was talking about. Oh yeah, the raid stuff. It's like, I don't understand why you would make a boss fight so obtuse. I mean, I can understand some stuff, but when it's like, no, you have to, the player has to study to figure out what the hell you're gonna be doing.
Not my books,
I think that's terrible.
Our books. Humanity's books. The world is collectively sighing right now due to your efforts, and it doesn't even know why.
This tale, your tale, will be the next great epic, and it's only begun. Ah, the Bible. I mean, well, that's like the book, right? Few books have shaped the world as profoundly as the Bible. Hans Christian Andersen and his fairy tales. Powerful stories of virtue and resilience. Children's tales, yes, but containing wisdom for all. You have just rescued the collective unconscious of the Western world. Thanks to you, the fire in the belly of humanity burns brighter today. Let's stoke it more, shall we? Thalia there is my associate. She helps me track the collections around the city. She will point you to the next locations as I catalog the books you bring me.
Hang on. It just occurred to me, I had to find the Bible for him? It's literally the most printed book in human history. It's like there is no book that has had more copies printed than the Bible.
So, you're
How
the
did I need
pilgrim
to search
Albert
for that?
told me is helping us rebuild humanity's library.
I am.
Albert's a wonderful man. I only hope others will appreciate what he's trying to do. We're not in the middle of the Renaissance, you know. Few people read. What about you?
What about me?
Do you read?
When I can. Not often.
Then tell me what you think. Between the Bible and Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales, which would you consider a better guide to human behavior?
I mean, the fact that it's both. I mean, it's both with the Bible. Because, I mean, if nothing else, the Bible has far more scope to it, I would say, than any collected fairy. Yeah, and also some of the purposes to the stories in the Bible are more transcendent. That might be for some hyperbole, but then fairy tales. I mean, it's like it's not just and the moral of the story is this. It's like no, it's something that sometimes it takes you, hours, days, weeks, months before you actually come to understand. There are people that do study stories from the Bible in that way, where they invest their time to understand the one story that they may encounter.
The Bible, I guess. I mean, isn't it the word of God?
I'm thinking about it more than I did.
Wouldn't you have to believe in God for that to be true? And a particular version of God at that.
I mean, for what Aiden
I
said,
must
yeah,
get to
but
Albert now. Perhaps we'll talk again. Speaking of which, here are the locations of more books.
But it still is, as far as learning about humanity. I mean, then the Bible can just be, a wonderful collection of stories for you. I mean, it's about that are certainly about many human faults, but also human virtue.
Move along, citizen.
Okay, I think that's that's. And there's also nuance, subtleties to many biblical stories that are kind of accidental. Like there's one I can think of where it's like it's the translation has impact. Like it's been a while since I've seen it, but it's a very interesting thing. Very interesting thing to consider. That for Genesis, like if you go back to like the oldest recordings of it, it was that God created the Adam. It's not that God created Adam, and it's also not that it was just God created this man and named him Adam. His name is Adam. It isn't even just that. It is, God created the Adam, and that Adam, in that context, the derivation of the name in the Hebrew is actually significant. earth. It refers to, like, the earth, the ground, the soil. Maybe not the soil, but it might also be, like, a specific kind of red earth. I don't quite remember on that, but it's like, that actually has meaning there. And so does Eve. The name Eve is also, the etymology of it has significance as well. So it is it's that whole, there is more depth to many biblical stories than you may realize. Now, there can also be more depth to fairy tales than you may realize. But I'd be willing to wager that a lot of fairy tales, not quite like that. They're not going to have those layers there. But as far as, like, why do we not remember that that's the etymology for Adam? Probably just people forgot to tell that to people, forgot to pass that down. It's one of those things that might be like, the footnote thing that people forget about, even if it is worth being more than a footnote. But the dropping of the, that it's not, and God created Adam, it's God created the Adam. That, I think what I saw, what the explanation given for that was when the monks were doing the transcriptions, where you'd have one monk who'd be reading it out from their copy of the Bible, and then all the monks in the room are writing it out. It saved time and materials to drop certain words, such as that. Or such as the, So they would do that. And it would be interesting to see a new translation to the Bible that does try to go back. And it's very possible that does already exist, was being worked on, or existed a while ago and you just don't see it so much. That, like, the King James Bible has just so dominated. And there's other translations that you can find today. King James is certainly the most prevalent, though. But yeah, and it's also another thing, going back a bit with the whole, you preserve all the stories that you can. Both fairy tales and the Bible do also record history in one way or another. Like, part of it with Hansel and Gretel, that story, which is actually, there's many versions of that in Europe. Throughout Europe, you'll find, like, oh, that story that I heard, it's like, it's not Hansel and Gretel, but there's elements to it that are very, very similar. And I don't know if that is a Hans Christian Andersen story, but how the brothers Grimm, I'm not sure who the collector was for Mother Goose. I don't think it was. I don't think that's, the person's name. But what they would do is actually, like, travel the countryside, kind of thing, and hear the stories, and then eventually compile them and write them down. That is how some of them put them together. But that part of that story that is very often neglected is that it was the father and the stepmother, and the Hansel and Gretel. Then they were in the midst of a famine, and so they actually tried to abandon Hansel and Gretel in the woods before. Like, it was on the third time that you had the whole encounter with the witch. But they were doing that because it was, like, more merciful, if you will, or at least easier on your conscience, I guess, to abandon the children in the woods because you can't feed them. So let them die due to the environment. Which I guess dying because, you fall asleep and you never wake up because it's freezing cold, I guess that might be better than starvation. But in any case, that's what is actually part of that. So these stories then have an origin, historically, of a time when there was famine. And there's other things that are actually interesting to that story. Like, there's some debate, and this comes back to which origin of the story is it that you're considering. Like, is it the one in Poland? Is it the one in Germany? Is it the one in Norway, kind of thing? But some do actually believe that the witch is actually the stepmother. That's actually supposed to be the same person, the same character. And I think also an element to it is the stepmother whispered in the ear of the father to kill them, to kill the kids so that they would survive. I think that was also part. That, like, the father would not normally, or if it were the father and the mother, not the stepmother, they would in some way find the food, or they themselves would give up so that the kids could remain. I think that might also be an element to it. But yeah, I mean, it is. I don't know if etymology would be the right way to put it, but the etymology of stories. It's like imagine whatever that whatever the correct word is there, but that kind of what is the historical origin of the stuff? But that for a lot of stories is actually very interesting to consider. And you certainly have some of that with, especially the stories in Genesis. Some of those are definitely, there's a purpose to why they're written that way. There is significance there that some today don't realize because you're outside of the historical context. But yeah, and you certainly also have that with plenty of fairy tales as well. Hansel and Gretel is, like I said, the famine, dealing with the famine. I'm just thinking, what is another fairy tale that might be a good example? Can't really think of many fairy tales. Don't exactly read them that much. Thinking of Tom Thumb now, which that might be a Christian Andersen, or that might be Brothers Grimm. I don't know. Oh wait, how about that one, Beauty and the Beast? Oh my god, that one is dark. Like the actual original story, that's so dark. I can't really think if there is much. I can't think of any etymology to that. Cinderella, though, that would potentially have some. The whole, well, that's more morality. I'm thinking of the whole, the stepsisters even mutilating their feet. That's actually part of it in Cinderella, is that they cut off their own toes to fit their feet into the glass slipper. And it's all just because they're horrible people, yes, but it's a desperation to be without one. Because if you made the prince, that would certainly be the case. But it also, to a degree, was teaching that you could, even the lowliest among you, could, achieve that. Because Cinderella did. That also reminds me of King Arthur's story. Those endured. In part, they were very popular, and part of the reason was, and I will stop after this, was that, like King Arthur, the Arthurian tales would also be another one that if post-apocalypse, you would want to try to preserve those as well. But part of the reason they were so popular is Arthur wasn't raised as a royal. He was raised as a commoner. So he was seen as a king of the common people. And in some of the stories, it's been a while since I've read any of them, you do see that is present. Like he has a compassion for common people that you did not necessarily see from other kings or queens and so on and so forth. I can also believe that Arthurian legend benefited from the fact that it was able to assimilate other legends. Like there's a story about Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Well, a story about Sir Gawain, but it's Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. That actually predates the Arthurian legends, as I recall. But it has been lumped into the Arthurian legend. It's a good story, by the way. It really is. But it is just that's another one of those etymology things where it's like because the Arthurian stories were so popular that it actually assumed others into them. And yeah, I find that stuff very interesting, partly because I also write stories. So I do think about the analysis there of what is the origin of this, what is some of the meaning to this, what is the context. And understanding that can really help understand what you're looking at all the more. It also kind of comes down to, there's some people that they hate it if they know how the magician does his trick. I don't. I'm fine with that. I can know exactly how the trick is done. And that allows me to enjoy then and appreciate how well it is. Like, I remember, true, not magic. I know I said I would stop, but this is a quick story. It wasn't a magic show, it was a juggling show. But it was like, they would, juggling these things back and forth, like from the stage to the ground, but they were also on like unicycles as well. And you look and it's like, oh man, this looks so much more complex. And not to suggest it wasn't difficult, but I would pay attention. I would notice they're only ever going back and forth. They're always on the same line. You know, it's not like, you know, a person's up on the stage and having to turn so that they're juggling with somebody as they're crossing. No. It was always along the same line. So it was basically, am I throwing it 2 feet away or am I throwing it 4 feet away? Not, am I throwing it to 2 o'clock? Am I throwing it to midnight? Or am I throwing it to 10 o'clock? That would have been much more complex and much more difficult and much harder. All those things. But no, they just kept on that one line. I see that, and it's like, to me, that diminishes nothing. It lets me see, oh, they're being clever. They're doing it that way, and it's still like, you know, trying to draw me in, drawing my attention. That may make me weird, but I enjoy that. That's part of what I like about some stuff. All right, I shall stop now. I have no idea how much more there is to this game. Man, I've still got to find out about Maya, which seemingly is the active story element. We have to deal with Hakan and Lawan. There's a hard comma between them. It's like we have to deal with Hakan, stop. We have to deal with Lawan, stop. Waltz, I can certainly assume, is the end. Like, we're not getting to him for a while. He's on the list, but not for a while. The Colonel, potentially. We also are going to have to deal with Matt. We need to find out what's up with him. Like how he started to collapse. Wasn't as far as in the previous part. When we went up in the elevator in the VNC Tower. And how, you know, I was pointing out we can't actually see his biomarker. I think he's sick. Which I also think that's part of the reason why he's been acting differently, as many people mentioned. See, he's sick. Maybe he's even dying. And he's trying to make a mark before that. He's obsessed with his legacy. Yeah, so we have all that stuff yet to figure out. And there's also Frank wants to bring back the Night Runners. So my guess would be then we're going to deal with the Night Runners. Lawan is going to come back into play mildly, like some reconciliation as far as the whole upsetting her because asking about the past. But that's not going to be resolved yet. Hakan will come in. Then we're dealing more with Lawan. Colonel Waltz. That's my current guess. But that could probably be like another 6 to 10 hours. It's not the fastest paced game. I'm okay with that, though. I do feel that some of the pacing is a little off, though. Mainly that, you know, like, some of it felt, especially in the beginning, it was like, oh, he showed up just yesterday. I've gone through 3 days already. Yeah. And it's like, some of that could be either more tightly scripted, or they should have made it more loosely scripted. You know, I feel it's a little mixed. But even then, at this point, it's kind of irrelevant. I'm just free to do whatever, whenever, and nobody will mention it one way or the other. Which is good. That's how it should. For a game with this. Alright, I'm still enjoying it. It's still a 3. It's still just a strong, right in the middle recommendation. Well, I shouldn't say strong. 4 would be a strong recommendation. It's still solid recommendation. 3. It's not impressing me. It's not you gotta play this game, but it is a good game. I am having fun. It's doing what it should do, and it's doing it well. I feel like I'm insulting the game a little bit by saying that, but no, I am praising it. I will be recommending the game, and I strongly doubt, going back to the conversation earlier, I strongly doubt that it will do anything that'll really sour itself for me. It's hard to imagine it. Alright, see you next time.